start the year, but a big win for this program.
I think it was. We had a lot of questions that needed to be answered, and I think we answered some of them on Saturday. And of course, now it's time for us to go back to work and try to correct some of those mistakes that were made and try to get better.
What were some of those mistakes maybe that stand out right away?
Well, the obvious ones, we had 2 turnovers on the offensive side, and they were kind of self-inflicting wounds, if you will, things that we had complete control over that we kind of let get away. Those were the obvious ones, and we missed some blocks. Our technique was off on a couple of things, in the passing game and also the running game. So things we got to make. We got to correct defensively. Same thing. We made some mistakes defensively. Just first game mistakes that you always make, and we were fortunate that we got away with them, and now we're going to try to correct them.
You feel like the defense set the tone well with that forced fumble there on the first play?
Absolutely. I think the first thing that happened is we set the tone that we were coming to hit and attack the football, and then it helped us in the field position department. Even though we didn't score, it still helped us in the field position. We were able to put our offense on the field, on their side of the ball, and even though we didn't get it, we went for it on 4th down. They got the ball about where they were, so it didn't really hurt us. The fact that we didn't score gave us a chance to get in there and get our feet wet, so to speak, and settle ourselves down.
Brandon said the game finally started slowing down when you completed back-to-back passes. Is that when you kind of felt the same?
It usually does. It's just like a receiver, a tight end. When they catch a pass, it slows it down. They get their confidence. Same thing with him. I mean, he came out and the beginning series, they put a little pressure on him, and they were putting pressure on him, which is kind of the wise thing to do when you're playing a young guy. Then he was able to start seeing the pressure. The line did an excellent job of protecting him. And then once he could see the pressure, he knew where he was throwing the ball. He could set his feet and make the proper throw. Once he was able to do that, we started having some real success offensively.
Where do you feel like you were successful running the ball?
Yeah, I thought we did what we needed to do. Okay, it was our first game. We had 4 new guys up front. We gave up 1 sack. I think it was 1 sack. We had over 100 yards rushing without running option and things of that sort. And then I think the big thing we were able to do was control the clock when we needed to control the clock. Even though we didn't score, we drove it down there a couple of times. We had some opportunity where we could have kicked some field goals, but I wanted our young guy to be confident with the 3 that he made, and I didn't want to put him in a bad situation. And give him a little more time to practice before we start putting him in those type of situations. So I thought we did well.
You guys had spring, all of summer, and the fall to really kind of focus on Grambling, know that they were the first team up. Now you got 5 days to make that turnaround with a young team and get refocused. How do you move forward and deal with that?
I think more importantly, instead of us focusing on Grambling, I thought we did a better job of focusing in on ourselves. We had to start answering some questions before we could even think about Grambling, Tuskegee, or anyone else. And I think that's what we did over the course of the year is we addressed some of the issues that we had as an offense, defense, and of course special teams. And I think once we started realizing that we can control ourselves, then our opponents was kind of the next step. And it wasn't, and I'm not saying this to minimize anyone, it wasn't a major step. We know we got to play football, but we needed to make sure we knew what we were doing first. And I think that's what we did an excellent job of doing.
Is it a feeling of comfortability knowing you get the win on the road and now you get to come home to sleep in your own bed this weekend and get all that done?
Well, home is always home, and home is always a wonderful place to be. And of course, we're going to be excited about that. But we know we got a great opponent coming in here who has a chip on their shoulder, and they want to be successful in our classic. And so we know we have a whole new challenge ahead of us, a very difficult challenge, and we got to get ourselves up and ready for it. So that's what we're trying to do the next couple of days.
A lot of outside challenges as well this week, right?
Well, we had some outside challenges last week. When we got down and got off that bus, we thought we were stepping in the oven. So those are things we have to do. Each week presents its own challenge. This week will be no different than other. As far as the challenges are concerned, the challenges may be different, but there'll be challenges every week. And part of being a great football team is learn how to focus, eliminate those challenges, and to concentrate on the task at hand. That's what we're going to try to do this week.
Tuskegee, a different type of team than Grambling, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, I think last year they won 10 games, so they're very confident, and they should be. They got an excellent program down there, and some really good quality student athletes. I'm not saying that Grambling didn't have those things, but they are a different team. They present different problems. We just got to be ready for them.
You didn't have any tendencies on Grambling going into last week. This week you had some kind of tendencies for Tuskegee. Makes it different, easier on game plan, or no?
We don't have any tendencies on it. We're their first game. They had a chance to come down and see us play. They saw us in action this past weekend. We don't get to see them. We get to see them in action when we line up and go back-to-back action, so to speak. So we don't have their tendencies. You know, we have some things that they did from last year, but last year was last year, different personnel. We can't even do a depth chart yet because we don't know who their starters are and things of that sort. So once again, different week, different challenges.
Does it make you as coaches, make it easier to get across to the kids that this is, you got to be ready every snap because we don't know what they're going to do? Kind of keeps their attention maybe a little bit longer?
I think our young guys are really focusing in on trying to play football. I think that was evident last weekend. They're happy about the outcome of last weekend's game, and now they're ready to move on. They're watching film, getting themselves ready to play. So I think we have some confidence, but I know we're not overconfident.